I'll let you know when, and I'll introduce you.
Yeah, I can't be too long, Steve. I got to go in like 25 minutes.
No problem. Okay, we're ready to go. This is Steve Sabadazzi, publisher of BayouBuzz.com, and we have Dr. John Bennett for us today. And we're actually doing a stream. We're streaming this through YouTube, and so this is live. And so, and it's also being streamed on John Bennett's Facebook page. So uh, let's get started. John Bennett, and how are you doing today?
Very good, Steve. Thank you for having me on this new platform.
Yeah, we're actually using Zoom.us, and so we're streaming that into YouTube Live, and so this is really exciting. Um, so, John, you're a medical doctor, and you and I have been doing Google Hangouts and like technology and trying to bring technology to our respective professions. Mine is legal, yours is medical. And why don't you just quickly tell us, if you don't mind, how did you first get involved with Google Hangouts, and what have you been doing? And then follow that up with what is coming up that is really, really special.
Well, Steve, I first got into Hangouts a couple of years ago. I was basically curating medical information and putting it on my website, internetmedicine.com. And I go into different areas of medicine, different specialties, medical applications, medical devices, and try to curate material I thought was relevant. Now, why could I do that? Because I've trained as a doctor. I spent a lot of time in the hospital training, etc. So I kind of have a general idea. I can make some misses. I kind of have a pretty good idea of what is relevant medical information and what is garbage. And I think that is my role, is trying to weed out the garbage and trying to present the most medically relevant information. Now, when I ran across Hangouts, I immediately knew the power of it. And this is similar to Hangout platform, where you can get two people live from different parts of the world to talk about a subject like changes in medicine because of Hangouts or whatever. And you can get more than one person, and you could stream it live. It's essentially just like Zoom. It's like having a TV studio. Someone gives you the keys to the TV studio. It's like someone came to you, and I think you understand this, and gave you the keys to a TV studio and said, "Here, this is your studio. Do what you want." I mean, how valuable is that? You can walk into the studio. Of course, you've got to think about, well, what kind of content am I going to put on? How am I going to promote it? Who am I going to get in the show? The same questions that TV had when it first started. When TV, I wasn't around at that time. I'm not as old as you, Steve. But when TV first came around,
Lucky you, by the way.
yeah, when TV first came around, people didn't know what to do with it. They have this, they listened to the radio, they thought it was great sitting around and listening to the Zane Grey and all that. But now they're presented with this video platform where they can see live a show. They didn't know what to do. So Sid Caesar and all these other people came on. They were making mistakes. Sets were falling down. And then advertisers said, well, hey, this is starting to get popular. I'm going to advertise Borax soap on TV. And that's when TV started really taking off because people were willing to pay for it. The same thing is going to happen to Hangouts. Now, TV eventually evolved. Production got better as far as getting a good picture, good quality picture, angles, cut in, etc. Promotion got better, commercials, people announcing the show is going to be at a certain time. And it is what it is today. Now, Hangouts democratizes that process. It gives you the keys to a studio, and you're going to be facing the same question. How am I going to produce this well? How am I going to promote it? How am I going to put good content on it? But you have the power to have a studio for nothing. If you have a desktop and a good speed connection, a broadband is best. You have a studio. So that's the challenge that we face there.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. Because when you think about it, all of the component parts of say this type of broadcast has gotten better. The camera, in terms of being able to have much more vivid pictures, the internet connection in terms of the broadband. I know here I've got a 25 meg upstream, and which is really awesome. And certainly just the computer, the hard drive, just everything, uh, being able to come together and to be able to make a better presentation. So over the years now, since you've been doing this, you've been putting on a number of different Hangout programs, from dealing with all kind of subjects, interfacing with medical doctors, professors, experts in all kind of fields. And you have a website called internetmedicine.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you tell us what it is that you've done in terms of, some of the people, some of the professions, etc., that you've been actually been able to talk with.
Well, one of the advantages, or a couple of advantages of Hangouts is, like you say, the personal interaction, just like Zoom provides that too. The personal interaction is so much better than a phone call or email. I've found that when I can talk like I am now with you, I get to know you better. I can see your facial expressions. Uh, and I'll give you a quick story about that personal aspect part of it. I was trying to sell a lot in the Bahamas I had, uh, and I wasn't sure how serious this buyer was. There were two buyers. It came down to two buyers, and I was able to have a hangout with one of the potential buyers. I could tell from the interaction that he really wasn't a serious buyer. Just his facial, the way he looked, and what he said. I don't think I could have got that from a phone call or an email. Uh, and I knew immediately when I finished that hangout, I'm going with the other buyer because this guy is not serious.
Sure.
So that's one example of the advantages I see: the facial expressions, the personal interaction, getting to know the person better. It's like they say, almost as good as being there. It's almost, of course, it would be better to be there, but uh, doing it the way we do now expands our network globally, which I think we're going to go to. Now the networking aspect, it allows me and anybody really to go anywhere where there's a broadband connection and interact with people of my specialty or what I'm trying to do. So that aspect is good. And another aspect that Zoom and Hangouts have in common is the educational. We can structure this program right now amongst an educational topic. And we could have, I don't know if Zoom has that, but Hangouts has panelists. You can have people in that area of expertise comment on that. We have a weekly neurosurgical TV show Saturday at 2 o'clock
Okay.
where we essentially get a neurosurgeon to speak on a subject or to give case presentations. And typically we have a student from Japan, a student from Belgium, we may have a neurosurgeon from another part of the world, that after the presentation's over, we're engaged in a lively discussion of that topic. And that's all live. And of course, it's recorded and archived, but that has tremendous potential. However, the promotional part is lagging because we don't have the manpower. That'll come with time. The production, as far as getting everyone on the panel to have the maximum bandwidth and video and audio, that's coming with time. It'll get there. We're right now on the ground floor, and like Sid Caesar, we're having sets fall down.
Yeah. Sid Caesar. He was a medical doctor, right? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So basically, what you've been able to do is to get, say, experts from all around the world, and to be able to bring them together online and to have these, say, cross horizontal and vertical professional discussions focusing upon technology and healthcare, medicine, and so on. Now, as I understand, you have a program coming up, which is really exciting, based upon some really cutting edge medicine. And why don't you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, the conference is it's an online 3D in medicine conference, 3D printing in medicine. 3D printing is essentially technology where they additively copy an object. Now, it's not like a Xerox flat paper. It's the 3D printer adds layers onto a certain design, and of course, software has to be input to give the design, and the correct materials have to be put into the printer. But it has tremendous potential in medicine. It's affected medicine now in constructing artificial trachea. It's beginning to print. A company in San Diego is starting to print liver cells, kidney cells, real cells, not actually the organ yet, because they have to work with the best blood supply. They're free. Now the 3D printing parts of the skull for certain operations. They're printing skin for burn victims to be able to quickly put on layers of skin, which is being done now. And they foresee a day where organs can be 3D printed from your own tissue, because they're starting to print stem cells. They can take your own tissue someday. They predict within 5 to 10 years, your own tissue, so they can 3D print a kidney. So if you need a kidney transplant, take some stem cells, 3D print it, make a lot of stem cells, and there's ways that they can influence the stem cells to develop into a kidney cell. So the potential is enormous for the transplant industry, and it's actively being used in many areas of medicine. And in this conference, this shows you the value of this technology of the computer. We're bringing some leading minds of the world together at this webinar and discussing the various areas of medicine that 3D printing is impacted. It's not on Hangout. It's not in Zoom. Someday it will be. It's essentially a webinar, but it's the same concept of bringing people together, because the internet, when you think about it, is a worldwide network, easily accessed. It's not the days of a TV channel which just broadcasts to Miami or New Orleans. You plug into the internet, man, you can go to every smartphone on the planet. If you have a URL, you have an address, you've got a worldwide channel. So
why don't you give us some information in terms of how people can actually sign up or watch this program, participate?
Yeah, we'll be providing links on internetmedicine.com. We'll be posting promotional videos. That we're starting to make promotional videos, and people can learn where to watch that. They can go to brighttalk.com and search for Internet Medicine. We have a channel on Bright Talk, which we're really excited to work with them. It's a big webinar company based in San Francisco with offices in London and New York, and they essentially are just starting to explore medicine. They, as you've mentioned before the show, they have a law section, they have a finance webinars, they have IT. They're very strong in IT webinars. They're very successful, and I'm tremendously impressed with their marketing team. And they asked me to start the medical sector, and we're going to explore that. And one thing I don't know if they have a true understanding of what's going on in medicine. But in medicine now, of course, you have the traditional medicine in cardiology, dermatology, etc. And we're not going to ignore that. However, we're going to specialize in the new sciences, because because of the computer, medicine has 5 areas of new science. And of course, they're not new, but I call them new sciences because they're accelerating in their growth. Genomics, accelerating tremendously since they started mapping the genome, 3D printing in medicine. nanomedicine, which is an area where you study molecules. There's big data, which is getting a lot more useful when they accumulate masses of
Sure.
patient data. And stem cell. Stem cell is an area which is growing tremendously. Like I mentioned, printing artificial organs, as well as taking your own cells to make certain parts of the body. It shows tremendous potential. So all these areas kind of have a lack of education because most doctors and are not educated in that because they went through medical school years ago. And all these are new. They've just been growing by leaps and bounds in the last 5 or 10 years. And I think that's one thing that Bright Talk is going to see. These are new areas of medicine which could use
Sure.
webinars. They
Sure.
could use webinars because they're not out there.
Absolutely. One last question, and that is, can say somebody who needs, say, their medical hours for certification, will they be able to do this at this upcoming course, or maybe future courses?
Yeah, I think in the future we're just getting in there now and getting the
Sure.
space, and I think that'll come eventually. Well, matter of fact, there are some labroots.com has excellent webinars, not in medicine yet. They're heading that way, but certainly the CMEs are Medscape. There's lots of sites to get CMEs, but I think eventually online conferences will have the same because they're adding value. They're adding value to the healthcare profession, and they're making it easy. I have a joke that I use. I don't know if it's appropriate for this audience. That my life was spiraling out of control. I was going to conferences, drinking, and chasing hookers, and
Oh,
so I
you,
knew it.
you must have been down here in New Orleans then.
Yeah, I think I was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself, I've got to change my life. It's spiraling out of control. So I gave up going to conferences. And now I stay at home in Miami, chase hookers, and get drunk and go to conferences.
There it is. Why don't you give us your home address and we'll join? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I think so.
No,
It's
no, yeah.
www.medicine.com.
Yeah. Well, this is great technology, great video, audio, etc. So it's amazing how this video conferencing, including hookers, are really coming around. John Bennett MD, listen, thank you so much. Good luck. I know you got to go, and it's great been talking to you. And let's see how this technology improves next 6 months, year, especially with 3D printing. Absolutely.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Okay. Thank you. Take care. Okay. So I'm gonna.
Can you edit this? You know how to edit and everything?
Oh, of course I do.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Because you can edit the part about the hookers if you want.
well, I don't know. We'll have to keep that in, I think. So anyway, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to go back to the control room.
Steve, I got to hang out. You're
Gotcha.
welcome to come to it if you want.
No, listen. Thank you.
Okay, I got to go,
Okay.
Steve.
Bye.
Got to go.